Like you're competing on topics, but you don't have a premise. Like a very simple example is very native to my world is making a show. So I host a podcast called Unthinkable. I have made dozens of pilots and a few series for brands that I've hosted, and even more behind the scenes, like working to develop a show with a client, with a brand, Salesforce, GoDaddy, Wistia, companies like that. And in all of my time, either consulting or actually actively creating the content, what I've realized is the most important part of this equation for a show, but also for your overall brand or any project within that is the premise. And the premise can be pitched in a very simple way, but it's really hard to build your way to this nice, neat packaging. The premise is this is a show or insert whatever project you're building about X. Those are your topics. That is not defensible. That is not ownable. There's lots of content about X. This is a show about X. Unlike other shows about X, only we Y. And so the why is like the hook. The fill in the blank is the angle, the conceit, the belief system. It's how you explore what you explore, right? So what you explore isn't ownable. And so the way you look at a premise, the definition of the premise for a show, a project of any kind, or a whole platform is it's the specific defensible purpose for that project pulled from your personal, or in this case, organizational perspective for your audience, right? So is it specific or generic? A lot of B2B content fails because it's too generic. Is it defensible? Can you own that idea? Because you might niche down and say, we're the first ever podcast about this. But as soon as there's a second one, yeah, you were specific, you might still be, but there's others. Like it's not defensible. That's a moat the size of my finger. It's specific, it's defensible, and it's pulled from your personal or organizational perspective on something, right? Like where we stand as a group, as a community, as an industry is broken. We think we should go that way. And this show, this content, this brand exists to help you move from the status quo to something better. We have a vision for what we're changing for our audience. And that is super potent in B2B because B2B, you speak about their careers, you speak about their businesses, right? That's powerful stuff. There should be a transformation you're pushing, not just a bunch of topics you explore. So the sum up to all this ranting, Blake, is we need to stop trying to out expert everybody. Like generalized expertise is totally commodified. What you need to do is imbue that expertise with some kind of personal perspective. And the way others access that perspective is through the premise of a show, of a newsletter, of a video series, of a whole brand. That's what we need in B2B. We need to get better at premise development.